Coming up this week on Talk with Audrey, insightful, intelligent information to help you improve the quality of your life or someone else's. I decided to go back to the archives. The year is 2008. The issues, unfortunately, remain the same. Coming up, my conversations with Mother Love, where she talks about the effect of diabetes, and Dr. Ian Smith about the dangers of obesity and diabetes in our community. I'm Audrey Adams. Talk with Audrey's up next, right after this. Don't forget, you can now follow us on Twitter and like us on Facebook. Visit theadamsreport.com.
WHCR 90.3 FM, New York.
Hi, everyone. I'm Audrey Adams, and I thank you for tuning in to listen to the show. Each week, I'll bring you insightful, intelligent information direct from celebrities, experts, and authors with the latest in health, fitness, financial, travel, entertainment, and lifestyle information that I hope you'll find informative and inspiring. This week, it's all about improving the quality of your life by improving your health. First up, my guest is the former host of syndicated shows Forgive or Forget and The Mother Love Show. She's a published author, veteran of television sitcoms, radio, talk, and music shows, actress, advice columnist, motivational speaker, stand-up comic, and a diabetic. Welcome, Mother Love, to Talk with Audrey. How are you today?
I'm doing very well. Thank you for asking. Hello, everybody.
Mother Love, you have dispensed so much good advice over the years. Everyone remembers your genuine spirit, and that is the same spirit in which you wrote Half the Mother, Twice the Love, My Journey to Better Health with Diabetes.
Absolutely.
You lost how much weight, Mother Love?
So far, 111 pounds.
111 pounds.
Yes.
Now, before you tell us how you did that, let's talk a little about diabetes.
Okay.
And the impact that has on people in our communities.
It is crushing our communities. We are, our kids are running around talking about bling bling and ling ling and this, that, and the other kind of craziness. And many of them and members of their family have been stricken with especially type 2 diabetes. I look at the obesity factor in our community, in my own family, and I'm like, okay, we've got to do something about this in my own life. Mm-hmm. And we have a cavalier attitude about diabetes. We will say, oh, it's just a little sugar. Baby, don't worry about it. Bring Big Mama another piece of sweet potato pie. That's all right. Now, she already ate a piece of pie. Her leg is already cut off. She's in a wheelchair. And then we'll say, well, they already cut her leg off. She's in a wheelchair. Let her eat what she wants. This is the worst attitude we can possibly have. We don't need anybody else to bring us down. We are single-handedly doing it with our ill health and the mismanagement of this equal opportunity insidious disease. And we're just letting diabetes take us out to just into the stratosphere. According to the Center for Disease Control, 21 million Americans have diabetes. A third of them don't know it. Mm-hmm. At the rate we're going, 54 million Americans are pre-diabetic. African Americans are only 12% of the population. Yet over 60% of us 20 years and over are dealing with diabetes or not dealing with it. We just want to say it's just a little sugar.
And which makes it sound oh so sweet, right?
Well, I'm thinking
but there's nothing sweet about it.
Give me some kisses. That's a little sugar. Mm-hmm. There's nothing sweet about diabetes under any circumstances. And I'm calling it out. I'm putting it on the front line. I'm putting myself on the front line. Well, okay, I really can't say I put myself on the front line. Let's just keep it real. I was not trying to be the poster child, the poster person for diabetes. Mm-hmm. I'm a praying person. I'm a faithful person. And I could not stand what I was doing to the temple that God had given me stewardship over. Mm-hmm. And I was crushing my knees. My heart was overworking. My kidneys were being overworked. My stress level was through the roof. Mm-hmm. And I'm sitting there talking about, oh, Lord, why I get diabetes? And God is like, well, you sitting your big fat butt up here. You're eating up everything on the menu, but thank you, call again. You're drinking with two hands. You're not doing any kind of exercise. What would make you think you wouldn't get diabetes and everybody in your family has it? Now, come on, stupid. What you going to do?
So you actually had a family history of diabetes, and then that same behavior you continued?
Same behavior. Well, at first, when my sister was diagnosed with diabetes many, many, many years ago, she was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes called juvenile. At the time, it was juvenile diabetes. It used to be juvenile diabetes and adult onset diabetes. The epidemic is so bad, they had to really change the name of it to type 1 diabetes and type 2 diabetes because children were coming down with type 2 diabetes, and we used to think that was for the old people.
What's the difference in the diabetes then? So just take me, if you can, from juvenile to 1 to 2.
Okay, well, juvenile diabetes used to be called that because only young people would come down with it. That's where the pancreas was not producing insulin. Think of insulin as the key to getting into the door of the cells to get the energy. The food is the energy. The insulin is the key to taking that energy into your cells and every little cell in your body to make your body work. Well, young people were not getting that energy, so they had to put it into their body by taking insulin using an injection. Type 2 diabetes is your pancreas, and this is like the regular street version of it, just regular street old version. Type 2 diabetes is, that's what I have. My pancreas will produce insulin, but my body doesn't use it properly. So I needed medication. I had to watch what I eat, all of that. But I was on medication. I hadn't gotten to insulin yet.
Okay.
And my obesity factor was a huge factor in my body not working because I was overweight. I wasn't overweight. I'm going to break it down. This is what the doctor said. She was the first person that said I was morbidly obese. And I had to face.
And break down morbidly obese.
That means you could die from being big and fat.
All right.
Just plain and simple. Morbid means you could die. Obese means you too big. And when you get from, and in our community, we got all the adjectives of being morbidly obese. I was zoftic, I'm pleasingly plump, I was cushy, I was fluffy, I was juicy, and we run with that. We didn't have a problem. I never had a problem getting a man. My husband married me. My wedding dress was a size 22. So, and our men don't look at us like that. Get you a big girl, you get shade in the summertime and heat in the wintertime. They came up with all of it.
Anything
and we are killing
to allow
ourselves.
us to continue to
allow us to continue
right?
to accept ourselves. And we became very accepting. And in that it's all right to accept yourself where you are, because I have never had a problem being in my skin. I've always been comfortable in my own skin. Mine came down to a health factor. It is about a life factor. It is about a morbidity factor. It's about a longevity factor. When you're walking around carrying all that excess weight, your body going to start to retaliate. And my body had begun to break down. I remember walking through my kitchen, and I couldn't run up the stairs behind my grandson.
Oh, my.
And it started to become a factor. I was having problems sleeping. I'm having these severe nightmares. I'm like, okay, what is going on? My body is just fighting against me now. We have got to do something about this.
What was a turning point for you?
My sister dropping dead at 51 years old. She was 51. My sister dropped dead from a diabetic-induced heart attack. She was 51. My mother did the same thing at 59. My father at 31. My brother at 39. So I've lost half of my family members to the ravages of diabetes because it's just a little sugar. And they had such a horrible, terrible attitude about it and a cavalier way of dealing with diabetes. And it just devastated me. And they would fuss at me and, say to me, don't come in here and tell us how to eat and how to live. This is how we're going to live, and you should just shut up. So, I got to the point of, I can't beat them, join them.
Right. It's really about our relationship with food also, isn't it? I mean, the way that we eat.
It's the way that we eat, why we eat the way that we eat, and the way that we process. There are several factors. A lot of us are overeating because of something that is eating at us. It could be something that happened stressful in our childhood that we continue to drag with us. It could be a stress factor. We're not making enough money. There's too much month at the end of our money. A lot of us could be overeating because we feel like that's the only thing we have control over. Many of us, and I talk to people around the country, our young people, we're doing the same thing to our young people. Again, we're not allowing them to have the tools that they need to understand the importance of good nutrition, the importance of exercise, and the importance of keeping our bodies strong and healthy. Many of us don't even feel like we deserve to have good health. Well, we can't buy a car, we can't buy a house. Many people are living in subprime markets with subprime mortgages, and we figure like, well, this is the one thing we got control over. We got control over what we eat, so nobody's going to tell me I can eat. And another
got to have some enjoyment out of life.
We got to have some enjoyment, and food is an enjoyment. I love food. I love to eat. I love food, and food love me. Let me tell you, Audrey, food love me. Macaroni and cheese was sticking to me like glue. Let me tell you, I had pasta all the way up my back. They were calling me Sister Two Booty because my butt was so big. So I know it. I know what I'm talking about. I live with this every single day. You know, some people can tell you, like when we go to the doctor and the doctor says what's wrong, and we won't tell the doctor what's wrong because we have a tendency to think that doctors are infallible, they're superhuman, they can cure anything. People, they practice in medicine. You better be at the head of your healthcare team, and many of us don't feel that strong. And if I can do anything, it is to empower my people to take control of your life, take control of your health. Like Malcolm X told us, by any means necessary, you do what you got to do to make sure your body gets strong. Look, you're going to die anyway. So why you want to die young? Why you want to die unhealthy? Why you want to die unfulfilled? I've lived all of that. I lived through poverty. I came up out the projects. I didn't want to hear any of this. Well, you know, Mother Love, we live in the projects, and we don't have fresh fruits and vegetables, and we can't get this, and we can't get... Shut up with the whining. Get up off of your behind. You don't have fresh fruits and vegetables in your community, then that's a place for you to step into that gap and start demanding that you get a neighborhood store that can carry fresh fruits and vegetables. And if they don't patronize them. Take your dollar someplace else.
Mother Love's in charge. Mother Love, what did you do to take charge of your own situation?
I had to do a multi-layer of things. It is just, first thing I had to do was change my attitude and understand and know that I could get better, that I could manage my diabetes, that there are tools and there are organizations and there are people out there who are willing to help me if I'm willing to take a proactive approach. And I had to take a proactive approach. My doctor said to me after my sister passed away, I had never been that sad and depressed in my life. Never. I mean, you know, bad things happen to people, you know, and I'm kind of like a weeble. I wobble, but I don't fall down. My sister died, threw me down on the ground, Audrey, and I didn't think I would be able to get up from that. I was so sad because she didn't have to go out like that.
Right, at age 51, that's so young.
51. Out here in Hollywood, 50 is the new 35.
Yes.
So that's like I must be like 12 then.
12 years old and fine.
You know, and to watch her, my sister lost her eyesight. She battled diabetic retinopathy. She lost the feeling in her foot. I remember I was at home with her. She had a lion leg table, you know, with the lion's claw.
Yes.
And I thought because it was so hard, I just knew I was standing on had my foot propped up against the foot of her table. Wow. And something said, look down at her foot, at where her foot is. And I had been standing on my sister's foot in a high heel shoe, and she couldn't feel me. She did not feel me standing on her foot. And I must have been standing there for a good 10, 15 minutes. And I looked down at her leg, and from her knee down, it was just purple. She had no feeling in her leg. They were going to end up amputating her leg. And she said, my mother said the same thing. My mother had a really bad ulcer on her foot. I had taken my son back to Ohio, that's where I'm from, to visit. And my mother didn't have any shoes or house shoes on, and my son was sitting at her feet. And he said, well, Granny, how you get that big hole in your foot? And I looked at my mother's foot and her big toe and just the base of her foot right there at where her toe was. She had an ulcer, like many, many layers where you could almost see the bone. Wow. And she couldn't feel that. And she said, I'm going to go and they're going to debride it and clean it out or whatever. I'm like, no, that looked like that needs to come off. Rather than lose her foot, my mother had a diabetic-induced heart attack at 59. But you kind of expect your parents to die before you.
But
not your
59
siblings.
is still young.
Not your siblings. My brother died 2 years after my mother died. He was 39. My sister died at 51 a few years after my mother did, because she died in 2003. Same year, my younger sister, who had been diagnosed with type 1 diabetes when she was 10, had her leg amputated. Bell went off, okay, God, I got it. I got to do whatever I can do and get myself together. I went to my endocrinologist, and I was so sad and so depressed. That's another thing we don't want to deal with.
Depression?
We don't want to deal with the depression and the mental health issues that come with having diabetes and any other debilitating disease. We simply will not even accept the fact that we have mental illness in our community.
That's true.
You can't tell black folk they got mental illness. That's what you tell me. You better shut up, mother love. No, I'm not going to shut up. We going to deal with this. And we're going to face it. And we're going to do something about this. Well, I wanted to write a cookbook about how, as a person who's managing diabetes, we can eat the foods that we love, and we can make them low calorie, we can make them low fat, we can make them flavorful, we can make them diabetes friendly for our special needs.
Got to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
WHCR 90.3 FM, New York.
We're back, and my guest is Mother Love.
I must have been about 40 pounds into my weight loss, and I went to see my literary agent, and he was like, I don't know what you're doing. I don't know what happened, but you need to write a book about what you're going through. And I'm like, I don't want to write a book about this. Are you crazy? I want to write a cookbook that's going to help my people know you writing a book about what you're going through, because that's going to be your bestseller. And that's my first bestseller. It made the number 7 on the Essence bestseller list.
Congratulations.
Because of what I do now and sharing my voice and my story, I see our people turning the corner to better health. I see us getting stronger, because I don't care how much money you have. I don't care how fabulous you are. I don't care how well you dress. I don't care how comfortable you are in your own skin. When you are in ill health, you're going to go down fast. And if you don't take a proactive approach, you're going down faster. We're going down.
Right.
We're going down anyway.
But that also means rather than go down, you have to make some hard choices.
Hard choices. It was really hard. I cannot tell you the people who turned their back on me because I said, I'm going to take a proactive approach to my health, get this weight off of me so I can live to see my grandchildren grow up.
They were more comfortable with you. Unhealthy.
That's why the book is titled Half the Mother, Twice the Love, because I'm the same mother love. I'm the same person.
You sure are.
You know, sound the same. I look the same. I'm just not as big and fat as I used to be.
In your journey to better health, you took a couple of different routes. One was, of course, diet and exercise to lose weight, and then you changed your eating habits, and you also had gastric bypass surgery. Why that choice?
Because my longevity does not run in my family. By everybody dying at such an early age, and my sister dying at 51, I knew that because I was a disciplined person, and I knew that most of mine was behavior, if I could get a tool that could help me on my journey, I knew I could take the journey. It was a drastic step. I absolutely would not recommend it to everybody. You know, some people just sing the praises of it.
Some people think you just get the surgery and bada bing.
And bada bing, that's it. It's a miracle pill, and there's no such thing.
That's not true. According to your book, you broke it down.
This is no such thing. There is no such thing as a magic pill. If I could have done it, you know, just with all diet and exercise, I would have, and I probably would have, but that is a tool, and I want people to understand it is a tool in your arsenal of better health. A lot of people can't do it. I would not recommend this to everybody. I've just talked one of my friend's daughter out of having it. She's only 17 years old. And I'm like,
wow.
You are too young to do this. We don't know how disciplined you're going to be. This is not a quick fix. You will have to live this lifestyle. That means for the rest of your life. You're only 17 years old. And you can get up, and you are strong enough to be able to do this. I wanted to get to my 50th birthday, and my doctor said, at the rate you're going, you might not make it to 50.
Ooh-wee.
Your sister died at 50, and he just broke it down. Because first I was going to get just like the lap band where you could adjust it and what have you.
Yes.
And I went to a specialist, and he said, well, if you want to change your lifestyle, why not do it permanently? And you know that you have to live this way. Could you do this on a permanent basis?
So what does that mean then after gastric bypass surgery?
That your stomach is reduced to your stomach is about the size of your fist.
Ooh.
Normal size, maybe about the size of your fist. It can expand to the size of a football. Well, many of us, when we overeat, we stretch that organ completely out to the size of 2 footballs. And you know, there's a psychological thing. For me, I just wanted to fit in. I was the smallest one in my family at 257 pounds. Now, when you the runt of the litter, you know you got a problem.
That's true.
You know there is a problem with that.
At 257 pounds.
And at 257 pounds, I'm the runt of the litter. And you saw the cover on the book.
Yes, I'm looking at it right now.
That's at my heaviest. And I was the runt of the litter. I'm telling you, my sister cussed me out, told me I was crazy. Why couldn't I just accept the fact that I was a big fat person and just deal with it? And I'm like, I don't want to go on insulin and just go on insulin and just deal with it. We big fat people, what's the big deal? I'm like, well, no, I don't want to be a big fat person and my knees sounding like Rice Krispies. No, I don't want to be a big fat person and my heart is overworking. I don't want to sit up on kidney dialysis. That's 4 hours a day, 3 days a week. That cut in too much of my shopping time. I got to be in Burlington 4 hours a day. I can't be on dialysis. And I mean, they rolled me hard. I mean, if I found a new recipe, found a way to cut some fat out, I got cussed out. And I said, you know what? I cannot deal with this. And I literally had to step away from family, friends, career, everybody, all the naysayers.
To do it.
To do it. And then once I did, some of them came back, most of them did not. I had to make a whole new set of friends, and I had to, go to different family members who would support me. Many of them did not support me.
But your whole life has changed.
It really has.
Your life has changed. So tell me then, because I know you're a very busy woman, and I really do appreciate you taking the time to speak with us.
Absolutely, because this is so important. What
is your life like now? Compare it to, do a before and after, if you would.
Before, I was a fat, happy chick walking around, Okay, so I was winded sometimes and couldn't run up the stairs behind my grandson, Now I have, and I've always been a very high energy person. That's how come I couldn't understand how come I got so big, but that was the diabetes. I quit smoking, gained 40 pounds. I thought it was because I could taste food. But it was my diabetes rearing its ugly head.
Diabetes kicking in.
And I knew what the symptoms were because everybody in my family has type 1, type 2, gestational diabetes that develops into type 2. You name it, we had it. So I knew what the symptoms were. I went to the doctor, got the glucose tolerance test, and at the time I got my test, I weighed 228 pounds, and that's what my blood sugar was, 228.
Ooh.
And I said, well, now I got to have matching numbers on that. And so when I started talking to my family about, and it's a shame that it's very difficult for us to go to family and friends and share our visions and our dreams with, because the first thing they want to do is shoot it down. And I just couldn't deal with it. I could not deal with it. And it was very difficult to have to cut those ties with family and friends that I had known all my life and to cut that safety net.
Yes.
And I had to do it because my nieces and nephews are just so big and they're just eating themselves into the ground. And I said, you know what? Somebody got to get off this train.
Got to get them a copy of your book?
I gave them all a copy of the book. Before the book even came out, they was using it to pop the door open.
Oh, no.
And I said, have you guys read the book? My one sister, she said, yeah, I read the book. I'm mad that why do you have to tell all the business like that? But you told the truth. You told the truth. And I really can't be mad at you because you told the truth. But I'm mad at you because you wrote about that. Now everybody going to know how we dealing with this and that we not dealing with it well. Oh, well. I'm telling it from my perspective. I'm telling it from how this affected me personally. This is what happened to me. And I don't want this to happen to anybody else. I don't want my nieces and my nephews having to go through this. I don't want my grandchildren going through this. I don't want your family going through this. I don't want any, especially our people. We already got stuff going on with us, and then we just gonna say, oh, well, it's just a little sugar. We don't need nobody else killing us up. We're doing a pretty darn good job of it ourselves.
And your greatest joys now, Mother Love?
My grandchildren. I have a grandson and a granddaughter, and my son and his wife, and knowing that we can have a future for them and the young people behind them, and the fact that we give them a future, that I might live to be 70, 80 years old. I just might make it to my 60th birthday. Nobody in my immediate family made it to 60. I got a few years to get there, but I'm telling you, I'm hopping on two legs and I'm dancing as fast as I can. And I want all of us to understand we have a right, a God-given right, to get ourselves in better health. God has given us stewardship over this house that our spirit is in, and it is our responsibility, our faith responsibility, to get well, to get better, and to do it now. Take a proactive approach to your health. Be the head of your health care team. Go in and if you don't have health insurance, you really need to get your butt out and walk around Harlem, walk around New York City, get up, because you can't afford to get sick.
That's the truth.
Diabetes is a $132 billion a year industry. Now, do you really think the pharmaceutical companies want to cure that?
No.
They want you to manage it. They want you on insulin. They want you on all these pills and medications because you up in their bottom line. They want you better.
You need to up your own bottom line.
Yeah, well, your bottom line is, and when you got diabetes, it's an expensive disease to have. If you're on insulin, you got to have test strips. You got to have a glucometer. You got to have insulin. You got to have whatever it is, and that stuff is not cheap.
No, it isn't.
Like I said, that cut into shoe time. Insulin was shoe money.
Mother Love has spoken. She's back. The name of the book is Half the Mother, Twice the Love. And as you guys could hear, she ain't changed a bit.
Got better. And if you want it, if it's all right, if you'll just share my website with them, it's www.motherlove.us. You can email me at motherlove@motherlove.us. So if you're having problems with it, you're struggling through it, and I know it's a struggle, people, log on to my website, get the book, email me. Let's get better together.
And they can also catch you as co-host on D-Life TV.
Seen Sundays on CNBC at 7 o'clock, right there in your city.
There you go. Did I forget anything?
Well, I work with the American Diabetes Association. That's a good resource for you. And when we come through your town with the Novo Nordisk Presents Mother Love Diabetes Awareness Bus and Truck Tour, come down and visit us. We do free testing. We got great door prizes and giveaways. Come, get on the bus and truck tour. Join us.
And you get a hug from Mother Love.
And get a big hug from Mother Love.
Well, I want to thank you so much for joining me on Talk with Audrey. Guys, you heard it right here.
You are so welcome, and it's been my pleasure.
Feeling motivated? Coming up, Dr. Ian Smith with information about his Fat Smash diet and how to lose weight sensibly.
WHCR 90.3 FM, New York.
He's the former medical correspondent for NBC News Network, where he filed reports for NBC's Nightly News and The Today Show, and he's the medical diet expert on VH1's Celebrity Fit Club and host of nationally syndicated radio show Healthwise on American Urban Radio Network, and is now a medical contributor to ABC's The View. Dr. Ian Smith joins me today to tell us about his instant New York Times bestseller, The Fat Smash Diet. Dr. Smith, welcome to Talk with Audrey.
Audrey, my pleasure to be with you.
And I thank you so much for joining us, because African American women, we all need to shed a few pounds. Mm-hmm. And it seems to me that in the process of shedding, we either try to do it too quickly or over too long a period of time, or we try to create our own system of losing weight, and that doesn't always work because you can't keep the pounds off. And your book, The Fat Smash Diet, gives us, I think, a blueprint for losing weight successfully.
Well, Audrey, it's such a severe issue, especially as it relates to African American women. Recent statistics show that as many as 75 to 80% of African American women are considered to be overweight.
That's a huge number.
That is a tremendous number. And it is such an alarming number, and I wish more people like yourself were sounding the alarm about how dangerous this is. And let me explain to you why. We often talk about contracted diseases such as HIV or something such as breast cancer or colon cancer. but we rarely talk about the medical complications of being overweight and obese. Mm-hmm. And what people have to understand is that several diseases, from heart disease to high blood pressure to diabetes to stroke, even cancer, they all have a common factor of someone being overweight or obese. And so it's such a critical issue for everyone, but particularly our community. And in that effort, what I decided to do was write this book, The Fat Smash Diet, for everyone, but with the idea that our brothers and sisters would look at a realistic plan, something that does not ask them to do something that is radical or extreme.